Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. I'm beyond excited to explore the echoes of eternity, exploring the spirituality of science fiction realities. I want to challenge your fundamental understanding of reality by proposing a radical premise. This premise was given to us by Neville Goddard when he stated that there is no fiction. You can also hear Frederick Dotson talk about this in my interview with him, where he asserts there is no fiction, that all the fictional realities that we have access to in anime and books and movies and TV, all of it is real. Every fictional universe ever conceived is in fact real. My mind, as I meditate and explore these topics, continues to take me to this place. I believe that I come from another universe. I do believe that I'm a starseed. I've tried not to emphasize that. I've given material and discussed the facts of this, but I've had some QHHT sessions that were pretty profound. And it also explained to me why I was so fascinated with science fiction universes, because I felt a connection to some science fiction literature, so much so that I would read anything I could find. I would listen to or read or watch anything that I could find that was science fiction. Even if it was bad, I would watch it. I am a science fiction superfan. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love the Marvel Universe. I love the DC Universe. They're all great. I've read them all. Recently, I just went on a huge reading binge where I read like 40 books in the LitRPG genre. And it really got me to thinking about the nature of the universe as it relates to the law of one and what my concepts are. By accepting this premise, we open ourselves to a wealth of possibilities, the power of the human imagination. If all fictional universes are real, then human creativity becomes a form of interdimensional exploration or even creation. The Akashic record is awakening. So I propose that if you want to know what's happened in this universe, in all the universes, in all the galaxies, then read science fiction, especially current science fiction, because it reflects deep inner memories that people may have from other universes. Or in dream space, I believe in the quantum, that we have access to these other universes more and more as the veil lifts. So we're experiencing this amazing phenomenon where there's all these incredible science fiction stories and we feel deep connections to them. And I propose that is because we are starting to remember who we are. We have come from galaxies, vast, advanced civilizations and realities. This definitely aligns with certain interpretations of quantum mechanics, such as the many worlds theory, suggesting that all possible alternate histories and futures are real. It raises questions about the nature of consciousness and its role in shaping or perceiving reality across multiple universes. I propose that all these real fictional universes exist within a single unified multiverse. This unified multiverse is a vast, interconnected web of realities, each with its own physical laws, historical timelines, and spiritual paradigms. The key aspects of this include an interconnectivity. While each universe maintains its unique characteristics, there are underlying connections and shared principles that unite them. The multiverse exists across multiple dimensions, with some universes closer to each other in the dimensional space. This tells us about energy and information flow. There may be ways for energy, information, or even consciousness to travel between universes under certain conditions. And this tells us of our common origins. Despite their diversity, all universes might share a common origin or be governed by overarching cosmic principles. So I wanted to fully explore the scientific, spiritual aspects of science fiction and see if we could bridge the gap between these things, because I can't help but think about it in relation to other writings like The Law of One and The Raw Material. The Law of One presents a profound and holistic view of reality that fundamentally reshapes our understanding of existence. At its core, this philosophy posits that all things, every being, every particle, every thought, are part of the one infinite creator. This isn't merely a poetic metaphor, but a literal description of the universe's fundamental nature. And in this view, the apparent separation and diversity that we perceive in our daily lives is an illusion, a temporary state that allows the creator to experience itself in myriad forms. If the creator is seeking to experience itself in myriad forms, it's creating universes with different laws and rules. And then we as creators, when we read science fiction, are the creator coming back to itself and remembering. There are dark stories and bright stories, long stories and bad stories, good stories. They're all there. This central principle leads directly to the concept of unity consciousness. If everything is part of the one creator, then everything is inherently interconnected. This interconnectedness goes beyond simple cause and effect relationships. It suggests a deep fundamental link between all aspects of existence. Your thoughts, actions, and very being are not isolated phenomenon, but ripples in the vast ocean of consciousness that is the universe. This encourages a profound sense of responsibility and empathy, as harming others or the environment is ultimately harming yourself. The Law of One introduces the concept of spiritual density levels and evolution. This model presents existence as a journey through increasingly complex and aware states of being. These densities aren't physical locations, but rather states of consciousness and understanding. The framework typically describes 7 or 8 main densities. The first density, awareness as elements, earth, air, fire, and water. The second density is growth and movement, like plants and animals. Then you move into the third density, where you have self-awareness and choice. The current human experience that we're in is third density. The fourth density is love and understanding. The fifth density is wisdom and balance. The sixth density is unity consciousness. And seventh density is the gateway to the next octave of experience, and then it begins again, going through 7 levels. Each density represents a stage of spiritual evolution, with entities gradually moving through these levels as they grow in understanding and awareness. Our current human experience is primarily in the third density, characterized by self-awareness and the crucial choice between service to others or service to self. This evolutionary model isn't linear or deterministic. Entities can move back and forth between densities, and the experiences gained in each density contribute to the overall growth of the soul. The ultimate goal is not to reach the top, but to fully experience and understand each level of existence. The Law of One presents these ideas not as dogma, but as a framework for understanding the nature of reality and our place within it. Coming from an advanced civilization, they claim, from Venus 3.5 billion years ago. So this is science fiction in reality, if you agree with that particular concept. This philosophy has profound implications for how we view ourselves, others, and the universe at large. It suggests that our actions and choices have far-reaching consequences, rippling out across the interconnected web of existence. It encourages a sense of cosmic responsibility balanced with an understanding of the infinite love and acceptance of the Creator. Through this lens, life becomes a grand adventure of self-discovery, where each experience, whether joyful or challenging, is an opportunity for growth and a deeper understanding of the fundamental unity of all things. The Raw Material, also known as the Law of One series, is a collection of channeled information that emerged in the early 1980s. This fascinating body of work came about through a series of 106 recorded sessions between 1981 and 1984 involving a small group of researchers led by Don Elkins, a former physics professor and airline pilot, Carla Ruckert, a devoted channel and researcher, and Jim McCarty, who acted as a scribe. You can listen to my interviews with Jim McCarty. I have two. The channeling process was unique. Carla would enter a deep trance state during which her consciousness would leave her body, allowing the raw entity to communicate through her. Don would ask questions and Jim would transcribe the sessions. The resulting dialogues formed the basis of the raw material. Ra identified itself as a social memory complex, a unified consciousness of an entire civilization from the sixth density of existence. According to the material, Ra originated on Venus billions of years ago, evolving through the densities until reaching their current state. As sixth density beings, they describe themselves as having a profound understanding of unity and consciousness and the law of one. The concept of Ra as a highly evolved being offered guidance to humanity is central to the material. Ra repeatedly emphasized that their purpose was not to provide specific prophecies or interfere with human free will, but rather to offer a broader perspective on the nature of reality and spiritual evolution. Applying the law of one to our unified multiverse opens up fascinating avenues for exploring the interconnectedness and purpose of diverse fictional realities. This framework allows us to view each universe as a unique facet of a greater cosmic design. The concept of the creator experiencing itself through infinite variations suggests that each fictional universe, no matter how bizarre or mundane, serves a profound purpose. From this perspective, the gritty cyberpunk world of Neuromancer, the whimsical realms of Discworld, and the space opera grandeur of Star Wars are all unique expressions of the infinite creator, each universe offering a distinct set of experiences, challenges, and possibilities for consciousness to explore. This diversity plays a crucial role in spiritual evolution. By creating a vast array of realities, the creator allows for an infinite number of paths for growth and self-discovery. The stark differences between universes, from utopian to dystopian, magical to strictly scientific, provide varied environments for souls to learn, grow, and evolve. The contrast between these realities creates opportunities for profound realizations about the nature of existence. Interdimensional communication and influence become intriguing concepts when applied to our unified multiverse. Beings like Ra, existing at higher densities, might have the capacity to perceive and interact with multiple universes simultaneously. It isn't too far to believe that a writer starts to interact with a higher being like Ra and starts to tell stories in dream spaces, that the author begins to think, oh wow, I have such a wild imagination, and then they write it all down. This could explain the presence of seemingly omniscient or godlike entities in various fictional worlds, such as the Q Continuum in Star Trek or the Guardians of the Universe in DC Comics. The concept of wanderers or higher density beings who chose to incarnate in lower densities to assist in evolution could be applied across our fictional multiverse. We might interpret characters who seem out of place or unusually wise for their surroundings as wanderers. For example, characters like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings or the Doctor in Doctor Who could be seen as wanderers, beings from higher densities incarnating to guide and assist in the evolution of their respective universes. Karmic balance and spiritual lessons take on new dimensions when considered across a multiverse. Experiences in one universe might ripple out, affecting a soul's journey across multiple realities. This interconnectedness suggests that the actions of a character in one universe might have unforeseen consequences in another, creating a complex web of cause and effect that spans the entire multiverse. Challenging or dystopian fictional worlds could play a crucial role in this paradigm. Universes like the post-apocalyptic world of The Road or the oppressive regime of 1984, which, side note, seems more and more like real reality every day, provide intense catalysts for spiritual growth. These harsh environments offer opportunities for souls to experience extreme conditions, face difficult moral choices, and learn profound lessons about resilience, compassion, and the nature of consciousness. From this perspective, even the most nightmarish fictional realities serve a higher purpose in the grand design of spiritual evolution. The suffering and challenges present in these worlds are not meaningless, but rather intense crucibles in the refinement of consciousness. The path between these densities, as described in the Law of One, can take billions of years, multiple lives. So by viewing our collection of fictional universes through this lens, we can appreciate the unique role each one plays in a greater cosmic drama. We can begin to remember the truth of where we've been. From the most utopian to the most dystopian, from the most magical to the most mundane, each universe becomes a vital thread in the intricate tapestry of existence, contributing to the endless exploration and evolution of consciousness across the multiverse. Ian M. Banks' The Culture series is one of my very favorite series that explores this. Go out right away and read every book that Banks ever wrote in the Culture series. They're just amazing. They present a fascinating vision of a post-scarcity society that offers a rich ground for exploration through the lens of the Law of One and our unified multiverse concept. The Culture epitomizes a post-scarcity society where advanced technology has eliminated want and need. This abundance allows citizens to pursue self-actualization and spiritual growth without constraints of survival concerns. In the context of the Law of One, we might view the Culture as a civilization approaching or existing within the fourth density, where love and understanding become the primary focus of existence. The post-scarcity condition creates an intriguing environment for spiritual evolution. Without material concern about money, individuals are free to explore the deeper questions of existence, morality, and purpose. The challenges faced by Culture citizens often revolve around finding meaning and making ethical choices in a universe of near infinite possibilities. AI and machine sentience play a central role in the Culture, raising profound questions about the nature of consciousness and its evolution. The sentient drones and ships of the Culture challenge our assumptions about the divide between organic and artificial intelligence. From the perspective of the Law of One, which sees all things as expressions of the infinite creator, these artificial beings would be viewed as equally valid paths for consciousness to experience itself. The minds, super intelligent AIs that are beyond anything we've explored in any movies, that essentially run the Culture, present a particularly interesting case study. These entities, with their vast intelligence and processing power, could be seen as analogous to higher density beings in the Law of One framework. Their ability to perceive and manipulate reality at levels beyond human comprehension mirrors descriptions of higher density experiences. The role of minds in spiritual evolution within the Culture is multifaceted. On one hand, they act as benevolent overseers, creating and maintaining the conditions that allow organic beings to focus on growth and self-discovery. In this sense, they function similarly to how the Law of One describes higher density beings assisting lower density evolutions. However, the minds also present a unique challenge to the spiritual evolution of Culture citizens. Their near omniscience and vast capabilities could potentially stifle growth by solving problems too easily or removing necessary catalysts for development. This tension between providing for citizens' needs and allowing them to face challenges necessary for growth is a central theme in the series and resonates with the Law of One's emphasis on the importance of free will and the personal choice in spiritual evolution. One of my favorite concepts is that of sublimation in the Culture series, where an entire civilization chooses to leave the physical universe for a higher plane of existence. This is the final book in the Culture series, and it bears striking similarities to the idea of harvest or ascension in the Law of One. This could be interpreted as a collective move to a higher density, representing a significant milestone in spiritual evolution. When we consider the Culture within our unified multiverse framework, we can see it as representing a potential path for many civilizations. It serves as a testing ground for ideas about how consciousness might evolve in conditions of material abundance and technological advancement. The challenges and questions faced by the culture about the nature of consciousness, the ethics of intervention, the purpose of existence in a post-scarcity world become universal themes that resonate across the multiverse. The culture presents a beautiful collection of ideas that align fascinatingly with concepts of the law of one and our unified multiverse theory. It offers a vision of highly evolved societies grappling with the next stages of spiritual and technological evolution. Isaac Asimov's Foundation series presents a unique perspective on the evolution of civilizations and the interplay between individual actions and collective destinies. Psychohistory, the cornerstone of the Foundation series, is a fictional science that combines history, sociology, and mathematical statistics to make general predictions about the future behavior of very large groups of people. This concept bears striking similarities to the ideas of collective consciousness in the Law of One. In the context of unified multiverse study, psychohistory can be seen as a lower density attempt to understand and interact with the kind of collective awareness that exists at higher densities. The accuracy of psychohistory in predicting large-scale events suggests underlying unity in human consciousness. The premise of the stories is that in the waning days of a future galactic empire, the mathematician Harry Seldon spends his life developing a theory of psychohistory, a new and effective mathematics of sociology. Using statistical laws of mass action, it can predict the future of large populations. Seldon foresees the imminent fall of the empire, which encompasses the entire Milky Way, and a dark age lasting 30,000 years before a second empire arises. Although the momentum of the empire's fall is too great to stop, Seldon devises a plan by which the onrushing mass of events must be deflected just a little to eventually limit this interregnum to just 1,000 years. The role of individuals in shaping a galactic destiny is a fascinating aspect of this series, particularly when viewed through our unified multiverse lens. Characters like Harry Seldon, the Mule being a character with unlimited psychic power, with the ability to manipulate emotions, represents an interesting case study. His emergence, unforeseen by psychohistory, demonstrates the potential for quantum leaps in evolution that can dramatically alter the course of history. The Mule could be seen as a sudden manifestation of higher density abilities in a lower density reality, catalyzing rapid change and new paths of development. The second foundation, with its mental powers and behind-the-scenes manipulation, bears some resemblance to the concept of higher density beings subtly influencing lower density realities. Their actions aimed at preserving the Seldon plan can be seen as analogous to the efforts of higher density entities to guide overall spiritual evolution while respecting free will. Later in the series, you meet Gaia, which represents a social memory complex, a planetary consciousness that aligns with this concept. This collective consciousness encompassing humans, animals, and even the planet itself represents a more advanced stage of evolution where the illusion of separation has been largely overcome. Star Trek's vision of the future, particularly through the United Federation of Planets, and the Prime Directive, offers a fascinating perspective when viewed through the lens of the Law of One and our unified multiverse concept. I have read you some information in previous episodes where Gene Roddenberry had access to the Law of One channelings and was talking with channeled beings prior to the creation of Star Trek. So there may be some semblance to the truth of this idea, maybe in different words, like the Confederation of Planets. The United Federation of Planets represents an advanced model of interspecies cooperation and harmony. In the context of the Law of One, we can view the Confederation as a civilization progressing towards fourth density consciousness, where understanding, love, and unity become paramount. The Federation's ideals of equality and justice and mutual respect across diverse species mirror the law of one's teaching that all beings are part of the same infinite creator. In the higher densities, on the positive side, it's just exactly like what you see in Star Trek. The Federation actively works towards shared goals, pooling resources, working towards service, and the knowledge and betterment of all. They have unlimited resources. The collective effort towards growth and exploration aligns with the concept of positive social memory complexes, where individualities are maintained but a collective consciousness begins to emerge. The cultural and biological diversity within the Federation serves as a microcosm of our unified multiverse concept. The Prime Directive, the Star Trek's principle of non-interference with the development of pre-warp civilizations, bears striking similarities to the concept of spiritual non-interference described by Ra in the Law of One. This principle respects the free will and natural evolution of less technologically advanced societies, allowing them to grow and make choices without overwhelming influence of a more advanced civilization. That's why beings like Ra don't want to appear as obvious or to give technological information. They're limited as to what they can say. This is reflected by the Prime Directive in Star Trek. Star Trek's exploration of consciousness, particularly through characters like Data and the holographic Doctor, aligns with the Law of One's view that consciousness can express itself through various forms. These characters challenge our perceptions of what it means to be sentient and evolving, suggesting that spiritual growth is not limited to biological entities. The series' recurring themes of humanity striving to better itself and overcome its baser instincts resonates with a lot of the material that I've discussed in my podcast. Characters like Picard embody this journey towards greater wisdom and understanding, serving as a way shower for humanity's potential. We can also learn about dark futures and what the negative polarities are like. Say you work really hard and only serve yourself and manipulate others, and you reach 95% of your life only serving yourself. Then you can actually ascend to the fourth density in a negative space. These negative spaces are what we see in the dark futures. In a universe governed by service to self principles, individual advancement would likely come at the expense of others. Beings in such reality might evolve by accumulating personal power, manipulating others, and dominating their environment with power. Cooperation, when it occurs, would be based on mutual benefit rather than altruism. The path to ascension in these universes could involve mastering control over others, achieving godlike personal power, or perhaps merging with a collective consciousness that amplifies one's individual will across reality. Warhammer 40,000 presents a grim dark future where survival often requires ruthlessness. The Chaos Gods in particular embody aspects of service to self philosophy, offering power in exchange for devotion and often corrupting their followers. The Imperium of Man, while nominally fighting for humanity's survival, employs brutal, oppressive tactics that align with service to self principles. In the mirror universe of Star Trek, advancement comes through betrayal and conquest. This parallel reality showcases how a civilization might evolve if service to self were the dominant philosophy. The Terran Empire's expansion and the constant power struggles within its ranks exemplify the kind of dynamics we might expect in a negative polarity universe. The dark side of the Force in Star Wars aligns with service to self principles. The Sith philosophy emphasizes passion, strength, and personal power. The rule of two, where apprentices are expected to eventually overthrow their masters, encapsulates the idea of advancement through domination. In Warhammer 40,000, there's the God Emperor of mankind, a powerful psychic being worshipped as a deity, can be seen as a twisted reflection of higher density beings. His immense power and influence, maintained even in a state of near death, raise questions about the nature of spiritual authority and potential corruptions of power. The Imperium's fanatical worship of the Emperor reflects a distorted understanding of unity consciousness. Instead of recognizing the divine in all beings as taught in the Law of One, the Imperium focuses on all devotion on a single figure. That's what you're getting in a service to self universe. So if that's what you want, you got to try really hard and be as narcissistic as possible. I do love the exploration of chaos in Warhammer 40,000. the four chaos gods of war, decay, change, and excess, representing primal aspects of human nature and universal forces. Don't get me started on the Marvel Universe. I love Marvel. Marvel Universe is populated by a variety of cosmic entities that could be interpreted as representation of higher density beings in the Law of One framework. These include celestials, eternity, infinity, the living, tribunal, and Galactus, among others. The celestials, enormous cosmic entities responsible for experimenting with life across the universe, bear striking similarities to the concept of higher density beings influencing the evolution of lower densities. Their inscrutable nature and seemingly arbitrary judgments of entire species reflect the challenge lower density beings face in comprehending the actions and motivations of those far more evolved. The celestials could be seen as 6th or 7th density entities tasked with overseeing the grand patterns of evolution across the cosmos. Their experiments with genetics and species development mirror the concept of higher density subtly guiding the evolution of consciousness in lower realms. Cosmic abstracts like eternity, which is the embodiment of time, and infinity, which is the embodiment of space, are viewed as personifications of space-time and time-space, fundamental cosmic principles that are described often in the Law of One channelings. These beings represent aspects of the infinite creator experiencing itself through the cosmos. The living tribunal, a multifaceted entity responsible for maintaining balance across all the realities, resonates with the concept of cosmic law and the balancing of free will across densities. Its three faces, equity, necessity, and vengeance, would symbolize the complex interplay of cosmic principles in the grand scheme of evolution. It's interesting. There is a Council of Nine that is mentioned in the Law of One that is very similar to all of these concepts. Beings of such immense power that everybody has to follow them, including Ra. Galactus, the devourer of worlds, presents an intriguing case study. His role is a necessary part of the cosmic ecosystem, despite the destruction he causes. He eats planets, but in some of the Marvel comics, they come to the realization that he is a required force in the universe, which correlates with the idea that even negative forces serve a purpose in the creator's plan. Even the Harry Potter universe could be real. The DC universe is great, and they utilize the chakras in explaining the different emotional patterns. There's the red rage, orange is avarice, yellow is fear, green is willpower, blue is hope, indigo compassion, and violet as love. That's the emotional spectrum in the DC universe. The spectrum is interpreted as a representation of the various frequencies or densities of consciousness. The Green Lanterns, centered in the middle of the spectrum and focused on willpower, could symbolize third density consciousness, the realm of choice and awareness. The progression towards blue, which is hope, and violet, which is love, aligns with the movement towards fourth density consciousness in the Law of One framework. The idea that individuals can tap into and wield these cosmic energies through their emotions reflects the Law of One's teaching that consciousness and energy are fundamentally interconnected. The DC universe is known for its epic multiversal crises events that often threaten the fabric of reality itself. Events like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, or Flashpoint represent moments of profound change and restructuring in the multiverse. We also see this in Marvel as well, in Infinity War and Endgame. One recent book I read, which I found amazing, was The House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds, that goes beyond both negative and positive polarities. The idea of thousands of clones living for millions of years, traveling the universe and then coming back together and sharing their experiences. These characters witness the rise and fall of civilizations. The periodic reunions of these characters over millions and millions of years is the basic story of the book. You start to fundamentally realize the complex nature of the universe and the many ways in which consciousness could evolve in the future. The LitRPG genre includes some of my favorite books right now: Heretical Fishing and Beware of Chicken, Primal Hunter and Mark of the Fool offers a unique perspective on reality and spiritual growth when viewed through the same lens we've viewed so far in the Law of One or the infinite multiverse concept. In LitRPG stories, characters often find themselves in worlds governed by explicit rules, levels, and skills, much like video games. These game-like realities can be seen as metaphors for the spiritual training grounds that each density of existence represents. The concept of leveling up in these stories mirrors the spiritual evolution described in the Law of One. Just as characters gain experience points and new abilities, souls in the Law of One framework gather experiences and wisdom as they progress through the densities. The challenges faced by the protagonists in LitRPG books can be interpreted as catalysts for spiritual growth. Each obstacle overcome or skill mastered represents a step in the character's evolution, much like the life lessons and spiritual insights gained in our own reality. The often explicit nature of skills, attributes, and progression in these worlds could be seen as a more transparent version of the spiritual laws governing our own reality. In the Law of One, these laws are often subtle and require discernment to understand, while in LitRPG they often clearly defined, offering a simplified model of spiritual growth. The concept of respawning or multiple lives in some LitRPG stories resonates with the Law of One's teachings on reincarnation. These amazing books refer to game-like progression systems. The most common theme is the protagonist or the world has a game-like system through which they can progress. So people will have stats, skills, and levels. Sometimes they'll have numerical values for health and mana or whatever word the story uses to refer to magic. But that's not quite as common. Subgenres include LitRPG Apocalypse, where it's a system apocalypse, where the system just shows up and causes an apocalypse on the planet, where our current world is transformed by the arrival of a system with the above explained features. There's also Isekai, where protagonist is transported to a world where those game-like features are just a part of the world. You also have VR MMO, where people play games in a fully immersive virtual reality. And finally, there are stories set in a world where game-like systems are normal, but the protagonist is a native of the said world. Popular examples include the Defiance of the Fall, Primal Hunter, He Who Fights with Monsters, Dungeon Crawler Carl. All of these are great, and I love them because these are big, thick books that I really enjoy reading through. These universes are so huge, with so many different possibilities, different planets, different ideas, systems of magic, that I just can't help but wonder what is happening in the universe. We've discussed all of these amazing realities, and there's so many more because there is no fiction. And I want you to share with me what you think the universe is like. On a grand scale, all of it is connected. I'm saying the Akashic record is awakening, that we are forming a connection of it, and that we can see this through our fictional realities. It doesn't have to be science fiction. It can be personal stories, love stories, whatever you can think of. Everything we see is real. When we examine the various fictional universes through this lens of spirituality and science and the Law of One, we see a journey in consciousness across universes. We see a recurring theme of consciousness evolving and expanding, whether it's the minds in the culture, the psychohistory of Foundation, or the leveling up in LitRPG worlds. There's a consistent focus on the growth and development of awareness. From the Force in Star Wars to the emotional spectrum in DC Comics, many of these universes posit an underlying energy or consciousness that connects all beings and things. The tension between individual choice and cosmic destiny is a recurring theme, reflected in the Prime Directive of Star Trek, the psychohistory of the Foundation, and the choices faced by characters in apocalyptic LitRPG scenarios. The existence of higher beings or realms, many of these universes feature entities or dimensions that transcend ordinary human experience, echoing the concept of higher densities. Whether it's the rise and fall of galactic empires or multiversal crises, Many of these stories reflect the Law of One's concept of cosmic cycles and harvests, as well as the concepts that are discussed by other channeled entities like Bashar and the Arcturian Council with Daniel Scranton. While there are common themes, these universes often take different approaches to the relationship between spirituality and technology. Integration, the Culture series, presents a vision where advanced technology and spiritual like transcendence or sublimation coexist and complement each other. There's conflict in Warhammer 40,000, which portrays a universe where technology and spirituality are often at odds, with faith twisted into fanaticism and technology viewed with suspicion. Or the scientification of spirituality you see in Marvel and DC, presenting spiritual or mystical concepts in pseudo-scientific terms. Or LitRPG stories like The Defiance of the Fall present game-like mechanics as a way of making spiritual growth explicit and quantifiable. The Foundation series explores how spiritual movements might arise in response to advanced scientific understanding. The place of humanity in these vast cosmic narratives varies significantly. They can be the center role, or one among many as we see in Star Trek, or a potential for transcendence like we see in the House of Suns, or microcosm of larger principles what we see in others. This comparative analysis reveals that these fictional universes differ greatly in their specific details, but they all must grapple with similar fundamental questions about the nature of consciousness, reality, and spiritual evolution. Their diverse approaches to these questions provide a rich background for exploring the concepts of the Law of One and contemplating our own place in a vast interconnected universe. Our journey through these fictional universes leads to a synthesis of scientific and spiritual ideas. First of all, consciousness as a fundamental force, the observer effect on a cosmic scale, the idea of multidimensional existences, various planes, dimensions, or densities portrayed in these fictions mirror both string theory concepts of multiple dimensions and spiritual teachings about different levels of existence. From the force to the emotional spectrum, many of these universes portray reality as composed of energy and information aligning with both modern physics and esoteric spiritual concepts. Our exploration of these fictional universes isn't just an academic exercise. It has profound implications for how we as readers and conscious beings interact with and potentially shape reality. Consciousness is a creator. If consciousness is indeed fundamental to reality, then our thoughts, beliefs, and focus play a crucial role in shaping our experience of existence. Fictional worlds can work as thought experiments. By engaging with these fictional universes, we're not just passively consuming stories, but actively participating in vast thought experiments about the nature of reality and consciousness. They expose us to diverse fictional realities that can expand our conception of reality. I hope in this discussion that this is an invitation to view reality, both the reality you perceive around you and the realities we explore through fiction, as a vast, interconnected, conscious multiverse of infinite potential. By engaging deeply with these concepts, we have the opportunity not just to understand reality better, but to play an active role in its unfolding. The multiverse awaits your exploration. So go out, read these books, think about these, and share in the comments what you think. The journey has just begun. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com, and welcome to The Reality Revolution.